Roger, we are turning left, 200. In that case, we are going to descend to only 10,000 feet in order to dump the fuel.
Roger, maintain 10,000. I'll advise you when you're over the water. It will be very shortly.
Roger. Are you in the emergency checklist for air conditioning smoke? Yes.
Swiss Air 111, say again, please.
Sorry, that was not for you. Swiss Air 111 was asking internally.
Okay.
Airspeed is decreasing below 306. Level off speed here.
Just fly the plane as you see fit, Stefan.
Swiss Air 111, continue left heading 180. You'll be off the coast in about 15 miles.
Left heading 180, Roger. Swiss Air 111 and maintaining at 10,000 feet.
Roger.
Cabin bus off.
Cabin bus off, Roger.
The cabin bus switch knocks out all the lighting in the cabin. It is an indication for the passengers that something is wrong, but hardly alarming.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have temporarily lost the lights in the cabin. Please remain calm. The crew will be coming around with flashlights to assist in landing.
Despite a cockpit filled with smoke, there is still no trace in the passenger cabin.
You will be staying within about 35-40 miles of the airport if you have to get back to the airport in a hurry.
Okay, that's fine with us. Please tell us when we can start to dump the fuel.
Suddenly, the MD-11 sends out a warning that the smoke is a sign of a more serious problem.
Autopilot, disconnect.
Copy that. Autopilot, disconnect. Swiss Air 111.
The fire has now reached the plane's autopilot, and this is just the beginning.
10,000, 11,000 and 9,000 feet.
Swiss Air 111, you can block between 5,000 and 12,000 if you wish.
One by one, systems all over the aircraft fail. In seconds, the calm in the cockpit dissolves.
Between 12 and 5,000 feet. We are declaring emergency now. Swiss Air 111 at time 0124.
The two pilots speak simultaneously. Combined with other distractions in the control room, Pickerel is unable to hear a critical transmission. Lowe's declaration that they must land immediately.
We are dumping fuel now. We must land immediate.
Swiss Air 111, just a couple more miles. I'll be right with you.
Roger that. And we're declaring emergency now. Swiss Air 111.
Missing this transmission is a moment Bill Pickerel relives today.
I'm not sure that it's a feeling that you can adequately describe. I recall reviewing the events of that night 1,000 times to determine if there was something additionally that I could have done, or if there was some mistake that I might have made, or was there any way that I contributed to this. And eventually I was able to come to the point of realization that there wasn't anything that I could have done, that everything that could have was done.
Now, there is nothing to do but wait.
I'm just flying and nothing else.
30 seconds after declaring emergency, the pilots of Swiss Air 111 face an inferno.
All my screens are down. I'm flying on standby instruments, maintaining 300.
Swiss Air 111, you are cleared to commence your fuel dump on that track, and advise me when your dump is complete. Swiss Air 111, check. You are cleared to start the fuel dump.
There is no further communication from the aircraft. Six minutes later, residents of Peggy's Cove hear a deafening explosion. No one knows what happened to 229 people after 360 seconds of silence.
It was probably one of the most helpless feelings that any individual can have, not being able to do anything but just sit and watch the target and hope that it would turn back toward the airport. And of course it didn't.
The following morning, would-be rescuers glimpsed the terrible remains of Swissair 111. Only one human body is discovered intact. In Geneva, Ian Shaw has a premonition about his 23-year-old daughter, Stephanie.
That night, the night on which she was due to return, for reasons I can't explain even now, I was restless and I was disturbed, and I slept early and woke while my wife was still awake and asked her if she had had news of Stephanie. No, she had not, but she didn't expect to have news of Stephanie. We knew she was coming on that flight and that she would certainly expect me to be at the airport to fetch her in the morning. I awoke around 6 Geneva time, and on television there was a report of the crash of Swissair 111. And I knew instantaneously that we had lost our daughter.
The Transportation Safety Board of Canada launches what will become the largest air disaster investigation in the nation's history. They only know that Swissair 111 experienced a cockpit fire, but what caused it remains a mystery.
Well, this accident was a challenging one to investigate, in that initially, of course, we had to recover the aircraft from about 55 meters of water, around 185 feet. Of course, it was also in many pieces. As it turns out, it was in a couple of million pieces. So that was the initial challenge. And then after that, of course, when you have so many pieces, you need to determine which are the relevant ones and what are these pieces telling you about what happened and why.
The TSB embarks on a complex, multi-stage plan. First, divers are deployed to survey the wreckage. They discover that the plane is smashed into millions of pieces. As fall weather worsens, the risk to divers increases. At this rate, the investigation will take years to complete. Stage 2. With help from the United States Navy, remote-operated vehicles begin a more detailed search. The ROVs help investigators survey the site. But the question remains, how to recover tiny pieces of twisted metal from the bottom of the sea. Out of the wreckage, the first breakthrough emerges: Swissair 111's black boxes. Recordings of cockpit and computer data tell investigators that everything on the plane was working perfectly until the last few minutes.
When the crew declared the pan, that they had smoke in the cockpit, after going through all of these parameters, we found no anomalies or no problems in any of that flight data that suggested there was a problem with the aircraft. So this led us to believe that the crew had a relatively operational aircraft. Aside from the smoke in the cockpit that they noted, everything else appeared to be working fine.